And at the end of the day, when the dust settles and we see the impact of what happened, like even just physically, you have 5 deaths. You have the death of Officer Sicknick. You have the death of Ashley Babbitt or something like that, who was a Trump supporter. And it was just crazy to hear the story of Ashley Babbitt because she's an Air Force veteran. So it's one of those where you see a lot of people in this group. Like it's just not one group. It's people that range from different type of sphere, like in the world, rich, poor, doesn't matter. Like they were all engulfed into this one lie. And it was one of the worst things to see. Like, it's crazy because my little brother doesn't pay much attention to politics, but he came in my room. He's like, yo, are you seeing this? Like, for him to do that, man, he even knew, man, this is one of the darkest moments in history.
Yeah. No, and, like something that you said that I'd like to really underline is, how, just the culture of misinformation that was created and perpetuated throughout these past 4 years and even going further back, like, these people believe they're doing the right thing, like sometimes it's easier to like dismiss them and just say these people are crazy, these people are like whatever. But if you imagine, for example, that if you consider yourself a patriot and you think that an election is being stolen from you, and you have the president of your country saying that, you have your media ecosystem saying that, and that's why I think we must hold these actors, like, not just like the people who stormed the Capitol, but the people who created this environment, those senators, the Ted Cruz, the Josh Hawley, the Donald Trump, the Fox News, even Fox News, like that entire environment. Let's not talk about even Newsmax and, and these like various, far right, outlets and media websites and etc. Those mainstream people who created this environment, where people were misinformed, and they really thought that, they were stealing an election from them. For like, what shocked me was watching those videos, the videos that were being filmed, because many of those people, when they stormed the Capitol and went to Nancy Pelosi's office and, they were filming themselves, they were proud. And if you listen to what they were saying, it's like, one of them was like, let's take a picture and, we'll send this to Ted Cruz. He'll be proud. Let's call Donald Trump. He'll be proud. Like for them, that's the right way to act, like, and they have good reason to think that. So like for me, one of the lessons I took out of this is that we as a society, even in Canada, but especially in the US, people have to take seriously right-wing extremism. Like we talk about misinformation on social media and on Facebook especially, but people don't take it serious. Like in Canada right now, there's Derek Sloan, who was like that controversial conservative candidate, like conservative leader candidate. He was trying to become the leader of the Conservative Party. Like he just got kicked out of the Conservative caucus because he accepted donations from non-white supremacists. But but for me, the story there is that people have to take that seriously. We really went through a conservative leadership race where there was someone who espoused bigoted opinions and was saying basically racist stuff, and he went on to go and go through the entire race, and and people were taking him taking him seriously and not taking he represented seriously. Like the current leader, Aaron O'Toole, he was campaigning on the fact that he didn't kick out Derek Sloan out of the caucus. Like those things, like even if he just kicked him out right now, but like he was campaigning on the fact that Peter McKay said that Derek Sloan did not belong in the conservative caucus. We have to take this thing seriously. We have to take the environment of misinformation that has been created, in the US especially, but also that is permeating in Canadian politics, seriously. Like, this is not a joke, like it's not just about, like left wing and right wing saying, okay, this side believes this other side believes this, like we can't have, like, people cannot afford to have a country in which like one of the two major parties doesn't believe in the democratic process. That's how the country dies, like, and there's like, I'm glad that many Republicans are coming out and saying that this was just unacceptable. But like many of those same Republicans created this environment and fed people misinformation. Like, just the last point before I finish, like there is like Marco Rubio, who's the senator from Florida. He tweeted after the riot, something along the lines that some people fed you lies, you're fed misinformation, they lied to you that you could overturn. But he said it afterward, and during the entire time that President Trump was saying these lies, he was quiet, So like it's, like these people, like people have to, people have to be held accountable for this. It's not something just people can shove on the wayside and say for the sake of, unity or whatever, turning a new page. We just have to keep on, because this is not how you can deal with this problem. This is a problem that's at the core of the American political life, and it has to be addressed. It cannot just be ignored.
Yeah, no, because they're saying, like you said, they're saying, okay, for the sake of unity, we have to move on, and etc. Well, at the same time, they literally created one of the biggest insurrections in modern times, like ever. And it's crazy because you feel as if like they would also understand how bad this moment is, and they would stop these peddling these lies or whatever. But right after the Capitol protest was done, they went back into the chamber and they still contested the Arizona result. Like you had, I think, 121 people in the House that contested it, and then you had 7 senators, including Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley. So clearly, it's not registering in their head, and I believe like action has to be taken, because at the end of the day, this is one of the worst things we've seen in history. And these guys, these people that hold political office, like, they think all it is just rhetoric. They think all they say is just rhetoric, and it leaves it at that. They kind of live in a fantasy world where I believe like for those guys, the age of Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, especially Josh Hawley's, they haven't really seen a political official truly lead a group of people to do something really bad. Like, we've seen bad stuff happen in modern political history, but we've never really seen somebody's rhetoric turn into a whole group of people attacking the democratic institutions. And this is the first time we saw it. This is the first time they saw it. And still after that, yes, they like to talk about we want unity or whatever, but they still went after that and they still contested the Arizona results. So clearly in their brain, it's not registering what just happened. Like, they live I'm not even going to call it a privileged life, but they live a life where they sometimes don't see the consequences of their action, and they finally saw the consequences of their action. And the people that suffer the most aren't going to be the Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley. The people that suffer the most are those guys that they believe the lie, they went to the Capitol, and now they're going to be in jail for however long they're going to be, or the people that died like Ashley Babbitt. These are the people that suffer the most. These political officials that have been peddling this lie, they're going off scot-free. And I don't think to set a precedent, yes, we have to set a precedent with the people that went to the Capitol. I believe you punish them to the full extent of the law, like those Ted Cruz and people have tweeted. They're like, yo, we do not support any crime. Punish these guys to the full extent of the law. Same with you. You also need to be punished. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to find a way to hold these guys accountable, because we can't have this ever happen again. And I believe I believe I don't want to say I believe this won't happen again. I'm being optimistic, but I'm saying if proper actions are taken, we will never see this happen again, because it shouldn't. Not in this world we live in, and especially not in America, which is one of the most democratic, quote unquote, countries, etc. One of the most advanced countries. Because these are things like you said, you always talk about. Last episode, we talked about the election. You talked about how what you were seeing from Donald Trump right after the election is stuff you would see in some of those countries in Africa, because you pay attention to those politics. I forgot what country you said specifically. But again, now add on to that what we just saw at the Capitol. You said that before we even saw the Capitol protest. So a lot of these senators, congressmen, they really need to take a hard look at themselves. They need to be held accountable. And like, because I even saw, you saw Lindsey Graham do his speech afterwards. He was like saying, "Oh man, me and Trump had a hell of a ride. Nah. He's saying, but count me out." It was like, I never rolled my eyes so hard. I'm like, bro, this guy, because at the beginning he was a Trump critic, then he loved Trump, now he's a Trump critic again. I'm just saying these guys sometimes do things without thinking about the consequences. Like Kelly Loeffler, after that, she did a 180. She's like, no, I'm not going to be part of this. And I think her speech was important because you could see how she was talking. Like she never thought it would ever get to this. She was legitimately traumatized.